at-risk behaviors in the working environment. There are 4 outcomes from this chapter, and they include demonstrate the ability to identify and recognize at-risk behaviors in the working environment, explain the concept of behavior-based safety, recognize and describe at-risk behaviors, and explain behavior management and strategies. Essentially, this chapter we're mainly going to be focusing on behavior-based safety. Okay. So, this chapter will help you to identify and recognize at-risk behaviors in the working environment. Here, behavior-based safety, also known as BBS, is based on solid principles of engaging, motivating, assistance, reinforcement, and sustainable safe behaviors. Okay, understanding and identifying risk-taking behavior is a key element in ensuring a safe working environment. By ensuring the company provides a behavior-based safety culture, BBS culture, it aims to understand the causes of accidents, near misses, and accidents, and to correct it through the improvement of employees' behavior. Okay, so what is behavior-based safety, BBS? It is a safety culture that the company and its safety practitioners and officers develop and implement to ensure we can reduce risks, near misses and hazards and accidents, and to ensure that our overall employee safety is recognizable and they know what to do in the situation where there might be a near miss or an accident. Okay, so what is behavior-based safety? It is an approach used in the ongoing process of safety management, and in order to achieve this, human behavior needs to be understood. So, as we said in the previous chapters, we as the individuals need to take ownership and understand what that safety is and why we need to look out for our safety and others in the workplace. And it is the company's responsibility to ensure they train us on health and safety training to improve our awareness and our knowledge on why we need to be safe, how to be safe, and ensure we are competent in what we are doing in the working environment. Okay, by doing that, we are encouraging a safety culture, okay, which will lead to the behavior-based safety approach or plan. Okay, behavior-based safety is a document that describes what behavior-based safety is and how the company goes about basically ensuring the safety culture in their working environment. Okay. It is necessary to encourage and implement BBS by empowering employees to observe and correct unsafe behaviors. Now, we as safety officers go and we watch the working environment and the task at hand to ensure it is safe for everyone, but we do not have eyes all around our head. Okay, we cannot watch everything at once, and we will miss a near miss and we will miss an incident. Okay, it is just part of human nature. We cannot have one person everywhere witnessing everything. That is why we implement a behavior-based safety culture in the company to empower employees to be able to identify near misses or potential accidents and incidents that might happen, as this only ensures the safety of not only the employee that might be directly involved, but it will also ensure the safety of others that will be partially affected by the near miss or the incident around them. Okay. Now, we will look at the accident pyramid. Okay. When we talk about near misses and accidents and incidents, it all starts at the bottom of the pyramid at the behavior, the act. It all comes from either the individual, which is the employee, or the environment, okay? But essentially, an unsafe act or condition aspires from human behavior. And the only way we can rectify that to ensure a safe working environment is by ensuring we have a behavior-based system. Okay, you can see if we can start at the bottom of the pyramid, we can avoid moving up the pyramid, okay, to death. We do not want to have an accident that might happen and lead to a fatality, okay? So if we can rectify at the bottom of the pyramid, we will ensure we don't move up. The aim of the accident pyramid is to remain at the bottom, identify an unsafe condition or act, and rectify it immediately to avoid further injuries or fatalities, okay? So what is the process of behavior-based safety? Okay, it is a bottom-up approach. Like, let's look at the pyramid, bottom-up approach, okay, with top-down support from safety management. So here, BBS lies in the hands of the employees actually working the day-to-day operations. Here, the management, including construction managers, supervisors, and safety officers, actually educate and train their bottom day-to-day employees on behavior-based safety culture, and that is how the bottom-up approach is identified. Okay, the top management ensure the bottom employees know what they are doing in being able to identify the safety. And then they report it to the top management when there is a near miss or a potential incident, okay? Having a BBS system promotes interventions, okay, that are people-orientated, okay? We cannot, by one person or two people in the safety committee, be able to identify everything when it comes to risks and mitigations to eliminate or minimize those risks, okay? We need to have people orientated to gain new interventions, okay? New observations, okay? So this is just the process of the behavior-based safety, okay? It is based on people, like we said. We educate our employees on how to identify risks, okay, and what to do if they do identify it. Are they going to report it to the safety officer? Is the safety officer then going to report it to the supervisor or the manager? We'll have a plan in place to ensure everyone knows the protocol and the procedures to follow. Okay, so here it is. It is based on people, safety, and values, okay? Remember, each person is individual to their own characteristics, and we all identify, analyze, and mitigate risks differently, okay? No two people will be the same. Therefore, that is why it is saying values, okay, and risks. It can be identified differently based on the person witnessing or identifying the issue at hand, okay? It can be implemented successfully using the ABC model, okay? So here, the behavior-based safety process can be further implemented successfully using an ABC model. So what is the ABC model? Well, A stands for antecedents, B stands for behavior, and C stands for consequences, okay? So when we think of the ABC model, we immediately think of a near miss or an incident, okay? An understanding of the ABC model will reduce incidents, improve safety and productivity of quality work, prevent injuries, and increase profit and save lives. At the end of the day, we want a safe working environment where it allows us to produce a quality work job and to successfully close off that project. So here is the ABC model. What is an antecedent? Okay, so what it means, what is the task at hand? Perhaps it is working at heights. Okay, what could be the behavior that might interact with the antecedent of that activity of working at heights? Perhaps it's falling from heights. Okay. and the consequence, what is going to happen, follows a response to the behavior. The person will fall from heights, they're going to be injured, and how are we going to go about mitigating and ensuring it doesn't happen again? Okay, behavior is activated by an event or activity, okay, which would be working on heights, and the result causes, influences behavior leading to a consequence. Okay, so working on heights, slip and fall from heights. What is the consequence? You're going to have perhaps a broken leg if you're going to be falling from 1.5 meters. Okay, if you're going to be falling from, let's say, 5 meters working on height off a scaffold, it probably might be fatality. Okay, however, to ensure behavior-based safety, okay, you as a safety officer or employees, perhaps you're working at heights or working on the ground, and there are others working at heights, to ensure behavior-based safety is actually implemented. Here, you as the employee digging a trench on the ground notices that the employee working at heights does not have his safety harness on, okay, and he's working at 2.5 meters. Then you immediately stop work and you find the safety officer next to you. You say to them, look, this is a near miss. It's a potential incident. If he falls, he's going to have a serious bodily injury. He's wearing no safety harness. And then the safety officer stops work immediately, ensures that the correct safety precautions are taken, safety harness on, and ensures the scaffold is suitable for use, and then work can continue. Okay, that is an example of how behavior-based safety works. We look out for each other on site. Okay, here's another example for you to go over. Boxes in front of the door, okay, obstruction. What would be the way, what would be the behavior, okay? Nonchalant about safety procedures. C, consequence, exposure to fire, emergency evacuation problems occur. Okay, how would we rectify this? We will ensure the boxes are stacked and stored appropriately. Okay. So when we look at the ABC model, going with the ABC model and the behavior-based system is a system called the do-it process. Okay, the do-it process. So what is the do-it process? Okay, let's spell it out. So D stands for define, O stands for observe the behavior, I stands for intervene, and test stands for test the intervention or the mitigation. Okay, so based on your activity, behavior, and consequence, you will then look at the do-it process. Okay, you will define what behaviors actually led to the incident, what was observed. Okay, here we can collect data from or camera footage if we can of the work site, intervene, what was done, was work stopped immediately, who was it reported to, and then we identify mitigations and identify if it's actually working. Okay, so at risk behavior in the working environment. Okay, so to understand this, it is necessary to know the difference between an unsafe act and an unsafe condition. Okay, so important to know the difference. So what is an unsafe act? It is a task that is performed in such a manner that it may threaten the health or safety of the employees, while an unsafe condition is a set of circumstances likely to cause injury or property damage. Okay. So it says likely, while the unsafe act is a task that is performed in a way that is unsafe. Okay, so here, the example of working at heights, let's say you're working at 2.5 meters, you get onto that scaffold with no safety harness, okay, the scaffold is not erected correctly with no toe boards, guardrails, and ladders, access ladders, that means you are engaging in an unsafe act. You're putting yourself and others at risk, knowingly entering that scaffold without the required requirements. Okay, that is an unsafe act. While an unsafe condition, here it says, is a set of circumstances likely to cause an injury. Okay, so perhaps you are excavating near an oil and gas site. Okay, when you're excavating, it means you're obviously digging a big hole or a huge trench. Let's say we're going to dig an excavation with a spade at 2 meters deep. Okay, then we're going to enter that excavation. Now, what is the potential circumstances we might be exposed to? Gases. Okay, so you then enter, okay, the excavation thinking nothing's wrong. However, there might be gases present, and you then potentially have asphyxiation from being exposed to undetected gases. So it's an unsafe condition that the excavation is creating. Okay, always do a gas detector monitor of the gases first. Okay, so then again, when we talk about at-risk behavior in the working environment, it is mainly caused by unsafe acts. Okay, human behavior, we are not educated and trained on our proper health and safety training, such as first aid, working at heights, scaffolding, confined space. Okay, and it can lead to additional risks and hazards on site. Okay, that is why we need to ensure we have a behavior-based safety culture in the company to ensure that our employees are educated, okay, gone on the necessary training, not only training to execute their skill in the job, but to ensure that they execute the skill safely, okay, being able to identify when someone else is doing something unsafe or going to enter an unsafe condition, okay? And then we need to ensure that we follow the correct protocols in reporting and intervening on that unsafe act or circumstance, okay? So here it says, personality and behavior are determinants in managing risks because it reflects on the way an individual will respond. Now remember I said earlier, we no two people are the same. We all respond differently to incidents or near misses, and we all have different interventions when we want to mitigate against those unsafe acts or circumstances we've identified. Therefore, we need to ensure that we promote a behavior-based safety culture where we are all on the same competent level to be able to similarly report issues that we have identified. Okay, so this, as the organization, we can go about doing this through a behavior modification process, okay? To ensure that we have a behavior-based safety culture in the company, we can try and modify our employees' behaviors to all be on the same reporting and identification process. We will never get it 100%, but we can encourage our staff to all have similar thinking, cognitive thinking processes when it comes to our behavior-based safety, okay? So here it says, okay, we can go about modifying behaviors such as identify and specify behaviors that need to be modified. Here we can talk to the employees, identify them individually, say this is what we expect. We need to try and work on this with you to try and get you from A to B when it comes to our safety identification and working on site. Okay, look at the performance, look at the different trainings they might need to go on. Maybe they're working on a excavation and they have no idea about how to actually go about shoring and excavating, so we could send them on an excavation course to identify the safety when it comes to that, okay? And most of all, continuous monitoring. Safety officers and safety reps need to do continuous monitoring to ensure that the behaviors are monitored and improved as discussed. Okay. So like we said, it is an ongoing process, okay? We cannot just implement a process and leave it and expect it to succeed. It is continuous monitoring. It is continuous program adjustments. identifying what the employee has done correctly, providing feedback, communicating, and ensuring that we are all educated and competent. Okay. So these are different multidimensional behavior modification approaches that you can also dive into as a company, such as self-mastery, self-management of safety behaviors, okay, self-observation skill, awareness, and self-observation. Okay, needed to discover self-defeating unsafe beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. Okay, the reason why they are saying that there are different types of behavior modification approaches because, like we said, no two people are the same, and one person might identify a risk to be very dangerous, while someone else might identify a risk to be minor, okay, the same risk. So we go about identifying, categorizing, and mitigating differently. So to ensure we have a similar parallel program, behavior-based safety program in our company, we need to ensure that we can adjust behaviors where needed. Okay. And again, we need to have open communication. Observation and feedback is so important. Okay. Safety works through communication. If you are a safety officer and you cannot host meetings and you cannot speak up when you see something going wrong, that means you are not made for this industry. You need to protect everyone on site when it comes to health and safety, and that starts through communication. You need to speak up, identify the unsafe act, stop work immediately, mitigate, and continue work. That is the process, okay? And that is what needs to be encouraged in the behavior-based program. Okay, thank you so much.